His friends were thrown in an oven. John accepted the job that taken away. Peter was a coward. Paul was in prison. The 5,000 had no food. Lazarus was dead. Timothy was too young. Abraham was too old. The youngest son was too stupid. The walls of Jericho were too strong. And Jesus was humiliated, hung on the cross, and buried in a tomb, bearing all hopes of the revolution that was hoped for thousands of years. Now, everybody was ready to close the book on this story. They end, game over. But if the one thing we learn from the scriptures is that we can never place a period once God has placed a comma. Because when all other options had been worn out, when circumstances couldn't get worse, when everything else had failed, get ready, because that is exactly where God shows up. Because Joseph became second in command, the Red Sea parted. Gideon won without lifting a weapon. Goliath's head was on a plate. Esther spoke and the king listened. Daniel turned blind. The other fought like room temperature. Nineveh repented. Peter became a rock. Paul rejoiced. 12 baskets was left over. Lazarus was just kidding. Timothy built a church. Abraham built a family. The youngest son came home to a party. The walls of Jericho came tumbling down. And Jesus Christ pulled off the resurrection to finish sin and death, and the creation that had been married for so many years ago was now restored for all time. With God, which seems like a hopeless situation, it's not only possible, it's favorable. Because only God can turn a mess into a message. Only God can turn a trials into a triumph, a test into a testimony, and a victim into a victory. His power is made perfect in weakness. So let us rejoice in our trials and hold them swiftly to the hope of. Because he who promised is faithful, was faithful, and will always be faithful, no matter how hopeless